Hey everybody, welcome back to Feedback Loop. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Joey.
And this is episode 13 of season 2 of Feedback Loop. I said welcome back to Feedback Loop. You know this is Feedback Loop because you clicked on it. And it says right there in the title.
Yeah.
And I said it twice.
And I'll say it once, Feedback Loop. That's the podcast that we're on right now.
Man, my brain's a bit shook. Hashtag shooken, shaked.
Why is that?
Because I'm leaving. I'm leaving everything I've ever known
on a freight train
to go to Washington. So the next episode I will be in Washington, confirmed. And the last episode we said maybe this weekend, maybe the next one. Next one for sure will be from Washington, at least half from Washington, half from Indiana.
Yeah,
as it were. But so I've been a madman this week. It's only Tuesday. The past 4 days have just been chaos for me figuring out how the hell I'm going to make everything work, because I wasn't called until Saturday, and they were like, hey, you can move in on August 8th. And I'm like, whoa, that's 4 days from now. I'm in Indiana. Let's push that out a week.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been up to. And during all of this, my music has been fairly limited, my intake of music. I've really just been listening to one album.
What is it? Tell me.
and it's a good album, and I wasn't expecting to like it, and it just grows on me, and it's like potato chips and popcorn at this point. I just can't stop listening to it. And it's the new Dance Gavin Dance album called Jackpot Juice. I've never listened to a Dance Gavin Dance album. I think I mentioned it on the last episode that they had a new album coming out. So it came out, and I listened to it, and at first I was like, that's pretty good. It's about what I expected, and then it just grows on me every time I listen to it. It gets better, and I'm just like, man, I'm really fucking it. So for the past 2 weeks, week and a half, I guess at this point, I've been listening to almost exclusively that album. I mean, obviously I've splashed in some like other shit, just like to break up the monotony of it. But like as far as new music that I've not previously listened to, it's pretty much it. I did not get around to listening to Third Eye Blind. I didn't get around to listening to Burial. Like,
are you kidding me, Jeremy?
I'm not kidding you. It's been nonstop, just that album, and then like dancing. I listened to Donda last night. I listened to Alkaline Trio and a bunch of other like stuff that I'm already familiar with that is less interesting to discuss. But this Dance Gavin Dance album, it just works. It's very clean. And I think that's why my initial listen was kind of lukewarm, is because it's very, very clean and polished in a lot of ways that I think you might not enjoy personally. But there's still a lot of like depth and soul and complexity to a lot of it. There's nothing that's simple about it. It's just very well produced, and everything's very snappy and tight sounding. But it works for them. It keeps growing on me, and I can't stop listening to that album. I think it's a contender. It's going to make it to my it's going to make it to my list, I think.
Oh my god.
For album of the year. This band that I'd never listened to before. So check out Jackpot Juice if you get a chance, listeners, and also Joey.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's necessarily your thing, but it's worth a listen.
I mean, I'll listen to it. I'll listen to anything once if I remember to.
If you make time to.
Yeah.
There's so much music out there, it's hard to make time for everything.
Speaking of things I finally made time for, I listened to the new Beach Bunny album.
Yeah. So what's your take?
My take is, I don't know if I feel like I've said it on the podcast. I was kind of lukewarm on Blame Game. Like it wasn't, it was probably my least favorite album EP that they've put out so far.
Right.
I liked it more than Blame Game. I will say that. But so I'm going to preface this by saying the first time I listened to Honeymoon, I liked it. I definitely liked Honeymoon, but it wasn't like, I didn't love it as much as I do now. So I'm expecting this album to kind of go that way for me. Emotional Creatures is the name of the album, by the way. I just keep saying this album, but
this album.
I kind of expect that to happen because I did listen to it and I very much enjoyed it, but it didn't pump me the fuck up in the way that like Honeymoon does or like Prom Queen did, where I'm just like, yeah, like I gotta listen to this 5 times.
Definitely. Definitely. I agree. However, my experience with Beach Bunny was kind of similar, I think, to yours in that like it starts off in a good place with Entropy and Oxygen. Oxygen being a single that I've listened to a billion times because it was one of the first singles for this album, if not the first single for it. So I'm very familiar with Oxygen. Love that song to death. But then it goes into like Dead Weight and Gone, and eventually, and it kind of hits this lull, I think, for me, where there's not a lot of interesting things happening. It's just standard. It's Beach Bunny. You know,
Yeah,
you're getting what you expect to get, and there's nothing there that really wows me about it. And then it goes into Fire Escape, which was another single that I've heard a few times, and then Weeds was a song that they performed live when Joey and I saw them. So that's fun for that reason. But up to that point and through that point, it's kind of one notey. It's kind of your standard Beach Bunny fare. And then you get to Gravity. And Gravity kind of like it made me take a step back because it's this kind of like ambient interlude
yeah,
kind of track. And then it goes into Scream, which might be one of my favorite Beach Bunny songs now,
hell
just
yeah,
because of how surprising it was coming off of all of that, you know, typical expected sound stuff. Scream is kind of different from a lot of the stuff I think that they've done. And so it stands out to me, and I love that song to death. And then it kind of goes through Infinity Room and Karaoke, which was another single, and then it ends on Love Song, which kind of reprises a lot of the earlier like melodies and motifs and stuff in the album. And I really enjoy that. I love it when an album does it. It shows that there's some kind of like cohesiveness to an album. So Love Song's a great ender.
yeah,
Gravity and Scream is a great like bounce back point for this album. And I agree. I think it'll probably grow on me more as time goes on. But the first half of the album is kind of bland, I suppose, for me right now.
yeah. I felt that way about Blame Game, and maybe that's what I went into thinking. Which I mean, yeah, like you said, there was Oxygen. We'd heard Weeds, Fire Escape,
Right.
Karaoke, all the singles, but maybe I went into it off of the back of Blame Game, hoping for a return to something like Honeymoon or like Prom
Mm-hmm.
Queen or Sports. But yeah, by the
I
end of it, they
actually
were.
like Blame Game now, by the way. I wasn't super into Blame Game when it came out, but it's also grown on me a lot, and I think I actually really enjoy most.
Oh,
There's like
shit.
there's only one track I think. I think Lovesick I'm still kind of on the fence about, but
Yeah.
the other three tracks on Blame Game I'm down for right now.
Well, you know what? I'm going back to it then. I'm gonna just tomorrow. I'm just gonna listen to Blame Game. I can't. I'm not gonna make that promise, but over the next fortnight, that'll be some of my homework: listening to Blame Game and more of Emotional Creatures to try to spark that, because like there is such a visceral reaction when I listen to like Honeymoon or like
hmm
Prom Queen or their
Yeah,
early
yeah,
stuff where it's just like
I think it takes time for those things to really like sink in
yeah,
and I don't know, maybe you're not necessarily in the right headspace for more Beach Bunny or new Beach Bunny. That
that's
kind of sounds kind of samey to old Beach Bunny, but like I don't know, I feel like Scream got away from it enough,
yeah,
and like Gravity got away from that sound enough to like kind of bring me back to it and say like, okay, wait, there's still something here. So I do think it'll grow on me as well.
yeah. I liked their experimentation with their sound because, like you said, I may not be in the right headspace considering the other type of stuff that I've been like kind of gravitating towards this week, which is one thing I actually posted in our Discord. Uh, it was an album art that just grabbed me, and it's an album called Cat Steps by a Japanese like electronic beat producer, Daisuke Tanabe. Tanabe sounds not like
Sounds better.
my Southern American Tanabe,
Abby.
whatever the fuck that is. But yeah, it's just like nice. Not necessarily like it gets chill, but there's some pretty like hard hitting beats in there. Not like any sort of like dance step you're gonna be like fucking punching the wall, but like
Right.
I was just kind of like in a funk, and then I heard that, and it was just like started bobbing my head a little bit. I was like, yeah, okay, okay, and then by the end of it, I was just like, fuck yes, I'm enjoying this, and it's great. I love enjoying things. So it was it was
It's
something
good
to kind of get
vibes. Good vibe
yeah
music.
got me out of a
I
little
mean,
bit of a
I'll
rut.
have to listen to it. I didn't listen to it when it popped up, but I want to.
Yeah.
I like the album art as well. Looking just
Pierce
now,
did, and
that'll be on my to come list.
Pierce listened to a little bit, and he said that's what Mr. Krabs was listening to in that one episode of SpongeBob.
Yeah, I
Where
missed that reference. Me being
well,
an unholy heathen who has not memorized the SpongeBob catalog.
all you people out there who remember that SpongeBob episode where Mr. Krabs is like beep beep boop boop beep beep boop boop. That's the song. That's the whole song right there.
That's the song. That's the album.
What else
There is
did
something
have
else
you?
that
Yeah,
I want to listen to. I don't have a lot that I listened to previously, as stated. I've been mostly in the Dance Gavin Dance thing, but today I was in a weird place, I guess, and I was like, man, I'm gonna listen to the Herbs soundtrack, which was like the Sims GameCube game that was like an
hell
urban
yeah.
Sims. It was called Herbs. So I was listening to some of that, and I'm like, I never went back and checked out the Black Eyed Peas early music.
Yeah,
I know from like Monkey Business and like Ella Funk and stuff like that, but I never went back.
like the stuff with Fergie. You never went pre-Fergie.
Right. For like their first two, I think, albums.
Yeah,
2 or 3 albums. But yeah, pre Fergie I haven't heard. I haven't listened to. And I was like, like I'm in this Herbs. The Black Eyed Peas, if you didn't know, wrote a lot of music for Herbs, and they sang a lot of their hits in Simlish, which is fun. But so I went back today and I started listening to their first album called Behind the Front from '98, and I was like, this is good. This is
yeah,
just good. I don't, to be clear, I do not like modern Black Eyed Peas music, but I'm okay with like Monkey Business and Ella Funk just because
yeah.
mostly nostalgia, I guess, at this point. But like, I was really enjoying their first album, so I want to give that a full, complete listen through, and then maybe bounce into their other album, Bridging the Gap. It looks like is called. So that's on my to do list for the near future. Maybe I'll vibe it out while I'm driving 33 hours to Washington this week.
Nice. Listen
Give
to
me
the
some
whole
lyrics
album. Like,
for long drives in the comments,
yeah,
and also you, Joey, for some long driving music. I'm down to experiment here.
I'll keep it in mind. One thing that I did listen to, uh, an album Morphable by a guy. His artist name is Sevish. It's just one dude, and
I've
I
heard of
think
it.
I had one of his albums on our list.
That's
I
right.
can't remember which one it was, but he just came out with a new album this year. I don't actually know like how recently. I think it's pretty recent, but it's called Morphable, and it's he writes like microtonal electronic like music, and so it's got a lot of the same kind of beats as not EDM, but like music, like dancey type music, but it's like
Yeah.
microtonal, so it's got a little bit more spice in there. And I liked it a lot. I grooved to it. I was playing some games to it, and it was just I was pretty much riding on the high that I got from Cat Steps, and then saw that, and I was like, yeah, this is also
Yeah.
good, and then
Makes
just decided,
makes sense.
yeah. But other than that, I've been listening to like a slow rock, 90s slow rock type band. They're called Happy Diving, and they just have that good, like, grungy, slow type of like sound that kind of, I guess, is what originally attracted me to Pile, but not that they sound anything like Pile, but like they have that
Right.
same type of vibe. But so
Yeah, I
that's
think
been fun.
I've also I've kind of been floating around like '90s grunge recently, just like in my head, just like
Hell yeah.
thinking about a lot of that stuff and not actually listening to any of it, but it's been present in my mind. So maybe on the short trip, hey, I'm going out to Washington, which a lot of grunge kind of originated out there. So that'll be fun. Maybe I'll listen to some Washington garage band kind of
Hell yeah.
grunge rock music on my way out.
I don't know what it is about that music, but it has such like, and I'm sure this is just the time period that like we grew up in, or
For sure.
the music that I was around, or whatever. But it's like there's just something about it that is like a warm blanket, but it's like comforting, but it feels like it really shouldn't be because of the subject matter of a lot of the music.
Yeah,
But
for
it's
sure.
just it's comforting in the way that like a depression nest is comforting, where you're just
Right.
like, I'm gonna pile myself up with blankets, but
Yeah.
everything sucks and I hate it.
For sure, for sure. I can get into that shit. I think we both established ourselves as sad boys, so we can talk about some of that stuff. But I don't really have anything else going on. Mostly, my brain's just in shambles, trying to get ready for this move. Been running around like a fucking madman.
I feel that I don't have anything else going on because my brain is in shambles, preparing mentally for you to leave. I'm just like, what am I gonna do?
So, the world will be changed, but also unchanged. Because I mean, we do this thing online anyway. We
Yeah,
haven't done an in person podcast since like the third episode of
yeah,
FeedbackLoop. So
yep.
this is the normal. This is the new normal as it is.
Wow,
So
dude.
next time you hear from me, you as in the listeners, probably not. But maybe from Sir Joseph here as well. I will be in another state, both mentally and physically, and give me some recs. People later your road trip playlists in the comments of places because I want to check them out, man.
Wait, I just thought about something. We're
Yes,
saying this, but by the time this episode airs, you're already going to be in
you're right.
Washington.
You're right. That's fair. That's fair. So I'm moving in 3 days. I will be on the road
Jesus.
to Washington. So by the time this episode goes up, I will have been in Washington for a full week. But the next time you hear me outside of this episode, it will be from a recording
Yeah,
that was done in Washington.
there we go.
That's the
That's
more accurate way
yeah.
to say that. But yeah, leave some road trip suggestions for me to listen to if you're listening and have some send links, show me your playlists, all that good shit. So I have something to listen to for 33 hours when I'm driving the long drive across America. Otherwise, I don't know, stay in our feedback loop.
Bye.